This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Saints Pod. My name is Greg, and as always today joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not too bad. Into another week of March. There's sun today. That's always a positive. Yeah, feeling good, mate.
Good. And it's nice, mate. Lots of football to look forward to this month, and one of those days today where we actually get the opportunity to pause for a minute and look back over a weekend of championship action and kind of gauge where we're at in terms of the rest of the league and see what's been going on. It's been a while since we've actually had the opportunity to sit and do one of these things. So
we still can't cover all of the games because one of the games is this evening.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Just how it is. So, as always, I'm going to go reverse chronologically, alphabetically organised because
the way
it's your favourite,
basically, yeah,
pretty much, yeah, and go from there. So we started on Friday night. Watford winning 2-1 away at Bristol. It's a good result for Watford. They're another one of those teams sort of right there in the mix, I would say, right?
Yeah, well,
pushing up. A couple of points behind us.
Biggest story surely is the fact that it's taken Will Still's brother significantly less games to get the same amount of wins as Will Still in the Championship. And it's kind of nuts. It kind of appeared out of the woodwork. No one really expected Ed Still to be in contentions for that job. He got the job, and he seems to be doing all right with them so far. But Watford, again, I just feel like potentially they need stability, but also that seems to be counterproductive to what they will ever do. So maybe they do just need to change their manager every 3 to 6 months to keep them. Surely at this point, if you've been a player there for longer than 2 or 3 years, you know the score, right? But yeah, they are another team that wanted to be up and about it, and I think for a long time Bristol City were considered to be the same, right? But they've kind of dropped down a little bit. But again, it's so tight. We're on 53, but so Derby 51, Watford 51. Bristol City 50. If Birmingham win tonight, that could put them up to 52. It's kind of crazy how tight it is at the top.
Yeah, it's properly packed in, properly condensed. But you're right, Bristol and Watford, they're kind of, if you look at the table, seem to be languishing in mid-table when actually they are kind of right up and amongst it. But that's the thing, right? Both of their form after this game now reading, two draws, 2 wins, 2 losses, or Bristol's actually that was their 3rd loss in the last 6. And that's just kind of shaky enough based off of the form of the rest of the league to make it look that way, despite you really being right around that playoff zone.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I agree.
Love it though. But yeah, watched a bit of it on Friday night. Was a good game. Would be lying if I did say that I didn't switch over to watch the Aston Villa Wolves game for the second part of it. But yeah, good result for Watford. Interesting running. Like I say, both of their forms probably a bit too shaky considering the form table and how it looks at the moment. But
yeah,
anything can happen.
Sure.
Like you say, any of these 3 games in 7-day period weeks, and that's flipped on its head completely. So the joys of it. Right there, mate. The early kickoffs, the 12:30 kickoffs on Saturday. Derby County beat Blackburn 3-1. Ben Brereton Diaz getting a goal in that game for Derby.
John Eustace coming back to haunt Blackburn, but also Ben Brereton Diaz coming back to haunt Blackburn. He seems to just be loving life at Derby. Fair play to him. Seems to be significantly more suited there, than he was at ours.
It wasn't not a high bar. It's not like he set a high bar at ours to be anywhere else.
The bar was a performance, basically, right? Yeah. But you do wonder what it is about specifically Derby that's managed to sort of unlock his potential, especially considering that when he first started there, he wasn't getting a lot of high praise, right? If you remember our former compatriot at GSPN coming on and talking about, it's sort of like, yeah, he's not really kind of like kicked off yet, and then sort of behind the cameras being a bit like, oh, he's a bit crap. And yeah, obviously now it's not necessarily the case. Seems to be sort of enjoying himself there. And Derby, considering they were considered to be probably like relegation candidates by a lot of people, and now up there, regardless of whether or not we think we're better than them, you know, they are literally just below us. So wild turnaround they've had in form. And Blackburn, unfortunately, still stapled quite close to the relegation zone, not as bad as they have been. I feel like Leicester and Oxford, kind of West Brom's put in and running for the money. We'll get to them. But yeah, it's a kind of a weird game. Really like a John Eustace derby more than anything else. But from a Saints perspective, hopefully it puts like a couple of pounds on the price tag of Ben Perez and Diaz, doesn't it?
Yeah, we can hope. That's his 4th goal this season now, which, like you say, is a marked improvement from where he's been at. But like a comfortable one for Derby by the looks. And like you say, they're going to be pushing on, and the same as us. They had like a dip in form, couple of losses, and looking to bounce back now. So keeping themselves in with a shot, as like we say, as is most of the league at this point, which is the crazy thing. Next up, one of the other early kickoffs, Leicester 0, Norwich 2, which Leicester at the moment, like, what's happening?
Well, you see, we beat them twice in a week, and then since then they've been able to salvage like a draw here and there. But yeah, the points deduction clearly having its effect, especially as the state of the league, as we discussed, is means that it is so tight. It wouldn't probably be as much pressure. And it's mad to think it was only a couple of years there in Europe. From a Saints perspective, interesting to see that Joe Aribo was an unused substitute for the entirety of the game, which shows you that he's probably about as valued as he was here at this point. I think he's had a little bit more minutes than he would have managed here. But Norwich, truly on the resurgence, right? Doing really well under Clement.
Yeah,
considering where they started under Manning, right?
Yeah, they looked, like one of the favourites to fill up that third relegation spot, and now they're kind of, almost enough to be not quite out of it, but you wouldn't back them to go down with what's below them, and 4 wins from the last 6. That's a really crazy turnaround.
They've hashed out the Josh Sargent transfer saga as well. He's finally moved across to the MLS, because I don't know how much you were aware of that, Greg. I've kind of been aware since we talked about picking him up a long time ago, and everyone's saying, we should have gone in for him, and he kind of seemed to basically go on strike until he got this move to, I want to say he's moved to Toronto now. And yeah, I can see that the reaction to him moving from Norwich fans has been like goodbye snake kind of thing. But yeah, like clearly they seem to be better for it. And as we know, sometimes it's better to let a player go, right, and rather than sort of force them to stay when they don't want to be there.
Well, it's the sort of thing that can kind of hang over the whole dressing room, right?
Yes, and agreed.
Bring the entire vibe down, and in the league where it's as tight as it is, momentum really is one of the key drivers. So Norwich looking to build that now, and I mean, not even like a million miles away from playoffs, although you would imagine that is probably out of reach.
Mate, I genuinely think you can't say that, because all it takes is one club to drop off of the form table, right? Yeah. If I know it seems kind of insane, but like if you have a couple of losses for sort of like Watford, Bristol, Preston, us, Derby, all of a sudden people will shoot back up. It's the same thing with Sheffield United.
There's a lot of teams between them and that, though, to all fall off at once is the thinking, right?
Quite a few games,
13 points behind the playoff places with 11 games to go. It's not completely out of the question, but you would think sort of slightly out of reach.
You,
But compared
you
to
would
where they
think.
were at, that's a win, right?
You would think. Like, I wouldn't have thought we'd managed to sort of drag ourselves up the table to where we are now, but we have. And it's, I'm all here for it. Don't get me wrong, but it's just it's a funny old game, and fair play to them. They're one of the few teams that were coming up that we've got games against where I'm a bit like, whoa, don't know how well I fancy that, but we just have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Or as me and you like to say, burn that bridge when we come to it.
And like you say, mate, the other edge of that sword for Leicester, now losing 4 of their last 6, drawing 2. It's kind of like a race to the bottom between them and West Brom, it seems.
The both of them are seeing how quickly they can capitulate, right? It's awful. I feel awful for them. But
the quality in the squad of Leicester to kind of pull through at some point, but it could be crazy. Like you say, with the thing with their points deduction as well is I think they appealed it and the Premier League have appealed it, which means that there is an outcome where it still becomes more points deducted than where they're at, right? It could be more than 6.
I think there's a big struggle when you say about the quality that could sort of see them through, but at the same time, like, that's got to be a depressing environment to be around, and they seem to have sort of been neglected ownership wise over the last few years, and it's one of those few instances we talk about where we talk about how bad owners can be, and I don't think that this was like an intentional thing, right? Unfortunately, they lost their big backer in that accident a while ago, and I just don't think that the company that he was running has had the funds to be able to do what they did when Leicester in the Premier League. So just a lot of problems for sure. And yeah, it will be probably disastrous if they go down. So we'll just have to hope that, for their sake, that they do a bit better. But also, we've seen it before, right? We've talked about it.
Yeah,
Yesterday, Sheffield Wednesday, mate.
I think it raises a topic that's far bigger than the discussion we're going to have today around like the financial damage it can have. You look at Luton last season struggling to recover after a year in the Premier League, and now Leicester, having been fighting off these financial demons for a couple of years, it seems to have been ongoing. Yeah, it's an interesting one. You're right. Can't create an easy atmosphere to build momentum in, and
No.
just absolutely plunging. Who'd have thought Leicester's survival being the main target at this point of the season, coming into the year? But
especially when we started the year, out of the two of us, if you told me, who was going to be closer to the relegation zone, especially after the sort of first month or two of the season, it would probably be us, right? So yeah. Ooh. Anyway,
right, mate. Moving on down the list, the last of the early kickoffs on Saturday. Portsmouth 0, Hull City 1. Things you'd love to see.
Like, we've had our fair share of disastrous goals take place towards us, but my lord, is it nice to see it happen to someone else, and it could have happened to a better team.
Look, just to touch on some key stats from the match, just to really drill home what kind of disappointment that goal was. Portsmouth had 22 shots compared to Hull's 2.
Mate, it's funny though, because we've had games like this before where we just absolutely peppered the other side, where they just go like, oh. I feel like when we played like Oxford, right? Where we, and that the clip of me saying teams like Oxford will haunt me forever. But like, that is a perfect example, right? Sometimes it doesn't work out the way it should on paper, and as you always point out, it's played on grass. So
an absolute howler of a goal for those who haven't seen it. A calamity of defensive mistakes, and then Hull taking advantage, getting that goal, and coming away with the win. Hull proving that they have the ability to win, even not playing at their best, turning around after a dip in form. They had a couple of losses and now up with 2 wins on the bounce. And they're another one of these ones in that mix, right? Up in 5th now.
Yeah. They need to be taken seriously, and it's funny,
Yeah,
isn't it? Because you look at where they were a couple of seasons ago, and like Ruben Sellas having to save them up from going down, and I think it was man, was it Rosinha they fired, who's now Chelsea boss, who was like
yeah.
didn't quite make the playoffs, and they were like absolutely outraged, and then made a bunch of bad decisions, but fair play to them because they're fifth now, so something's working clearly.
Yeah, something's working going for them. But, with their shakiness in form up until this point, if they can kick on and build momentum off this, they'll be, up there to be contended with. But as with all of the teams in that 3 to 6 space, or even the 2 to 6 space, to be honest, the pressure's on, right? You've got to keep up the momentum because
You do.
the teams going up from slightly below us in particular, right? We're making our claim known. It's going to
We're,
be
we're knocking on the door. It's just a shame that Wrexham are continuing to also knock on said door.
absolutely. Pompey though sat 19th in the table at the minute, 5 points above the relegation zone. Probably doing just about enough at the moment to stay up. You'd have thought.
If you look at it, the fact that they're getting the odd win, it seems to be doing better than a vast majority of those below them, right? Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Oxford managed to snatch a win or two here or there, and that sinks West Brom, and everybody else stays up at this point. It's just the idea, like, it's going to be mad when we go through our predictions right at the end of the season for
mm.
where we put Leicester and West Brom, and I can tell you now it probably wasn't the relegation zone.
Oh, it definitely was, mate. Yeah, crazy.
It's good. It just
Crazy
means another
scenes.
South Coast derby next year. Two more South Coast derbies next year if we
Yeah,
don't get promoted. So
yeah.
it's fine. It's a win-win
Something to
situation.
it creates the win-win situation, right? Of going up is obviously a win,
Yep.
and staying down is a win because it's a much more fun league to be a part of, and you get a couple more South Coast derbies, so
There you go. Happy days.
it balances it out, I think.
Yes.
And then moving on to the rest of Saturday's games. So, as you alluded to, Wrexham beating Charlton 1-0. I didn't see a lot about the game, but what I did see was Wrexham's post quoting Nathan Jones from last August with calling them a circus. Uh,
That's fun. That's I enjoy any level of pettiness thrown Nathan Jones' way,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
fine if Charlton want to believe that he's in our head. It's because he is, and
yeah,
it's because the damage that I felt that he did in like the 38 days in charge that he spent in our club will forever reverberate through our psyches. Especially where like a week later he was like randomly playing football in like I want to say like the Dorset fifth division. It's just the most bizarre man known to the planet. And, fair play that they've got a boss that they actually enjoy, but it does mean that we get to pull out sound bites like that whenever he says anything
yeah,
like that and then turns around. But I told you early season, mate, if Wrexham can bring in the right players and look to continue to do what they've done, and they can have a run in, and they seem to be doing just that, much to our frustration, because obviously every time we get a win and they do, the needle doesn't move. And that's what's annoying about it, Relying on other teams to drop points and us gain them is always infuriating.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's the situation we're in after having an early part of the season where we just didn't kick on.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing with Wrexham at least is it kind of can be in our own hands as we still have to play them, and we
True.
can sort of turn that over at least mostly then. So, but yeah, you're right. They're exceeding expectations moving up to the lead, right? And I mean, if they make it to the playoffs, it'll be a great documentary to watch. Everyone enjoys
Oh,
watching it,
for
right?
sure.
So,
Yeah. But the problem is that we're going to be in it for like more months. So I feel like, if we
yeah,
make it to the playoffs with them and we end up
mm,
playing them, and then there's going to be
yeah,
these 3 games, that's going to be, yeah. I look forward to us being the villains of the Wrexham story, mate. I've told you all along.
yeah.
Why do you think I was
And
so invested?
Wait, look, Wrexham just doing their best to turn around the definition of being a Mickey Mouse club, right?
Yeah, well, you say that. What's even you say that, but like, let's look at it. Like, all we need now is Cardiff to be taken over by some eccentric personality, and then you
yeah.
know, basically, I don't know what it is with Wales and eccentricity, but apparently that seems to be the theme, at least in football, right? That's where I'm at
That's it.
currently. Between Nathan Jones, Wrexham, Swansea's Snoop Dogg, Swansea. Sorry, who knows?
It's what makes the Championship such an entertaining league, right? It's not just like an incredibly tight, competitive league where anyone can beat anyone and literally as far down as 17th
It's
can
just
still potentially
weird,
go to
mate.
the playoffs. It creates such an environment of just
It's such a weird
incredible
league.
personalities and entertainment. It's just an absolute joy to behold. Honestly, I genuinely love it. It's so good.
So weird. It's such a strange little part of the footballing world. And yeah, you're right. It is good fun. Can't wait to leave it behind and get battered every week again. It's going to be fantastic. Anywho, there are more games, right?
Moving on. Next game, Coventry beating Stoke 2-1. Coventry finding their feet back to winning ways after a slight dip in form and lots of calls of potential bottle jobs. They're now 4 on the bounce. They've won.
No one could bottle anything as good as Arsenal, though. Let's face it.
Championship classic stoppage time winner for Coventry, 94th minute. Radoni sliding in and getting the goal.
If only that was us against Charlton.
Look, it was just
ever since
8 points clear now.
Ever since they came to our place, like, I just really dislike Frank Lampard and them. I'm just very much like, yeah, whatever, good for you, but like, man, just the pettiness that they had when they came to our place. Like, I get it, you need to be that petty and you need to be that ruthless, right? This is what I was talking about with how strange the atmosphere is around the idea of us beating Sheffield Wednesday and sort of like, oh, we don't want to win too much, sort of that whole thing. And I kind of feel like that's the case with them, is that they are just being ruthless. But yeah, fair play. It's still a feel-good story, I think, for the Championship. It just depends when they go up at this point, how their next season will be. Like, again, the team that went up that's having the most success is the team that won in the playoffs, which is mad, considering that when we were up and we had won in the playoffs, we floundered, to put it lightly. So...
Well, that's very, the thing, very right? If you cruise your way up, winning the league in kind of dramatic style, like Burnley did the year before with Vincent Kompany in charge, right?
We've
take that progressive style up to the Premier League and find out that you're not the big fish in the little pond anymore. It's a different game, and so you almost. The benefit of going up through the playoffs is at least you expect to probably adapt and adjust the way you're going to go and have some kind of overhaul. So, if we go up now, our squad, I don't know, they're not going to be able to play with the freedom that they played with against QPR in any game in the Premier League, right? It's just the way it is.
Maybe play that way against Wolves.
I mean, honestly... because of the way our strengths are in the way we play at the moment, it does mean perhaps we'd be better suited to the Premier League because you're probably not coming up against teams who play a low block every week. But also, there's gaps the other way, right? So it's fascinating to see how that'll play out. But you're right, 8 points clear at the top now. Really, just a matter of time before that promotion is locked in, presumably, as we get towards the tail end of the season. 11 games left. It's getting close to run-in time. Stoke, on the other hand, sliding down the table with a disappointing run of form. But, I mean, I think Stoke at the start of the season probably just trying to stay up, I think, if I remember rightly, and were, definitely exceeding expectations when they were pushing at the top of the table, so probably just happy that they did enough early on to kind of keep their name out of that out of that part of the table, right? So I think that 47 points, but only one win in the last 6. It's I don't know. It's the, like we say, the key of momentum, right? Still technically well within the range to push on for that promotion spot, but based on form alone, you
Very
can't
much
see
doubt
it
it,
happening.
especially with the
Yeah,
other teams around them picking up points.
yeah, that's it. Next up, Ipswich 3, Swansea 0. Ipswich, another team in this fight, right up there in the table, pushing on into 4th now. 3 wins in their last 4. Also, just on that 60-point mark. Yeah, just solid from them.
Yeah.
Swansea not performing as well without their illustrious Snoop Dogg in attendance to drive them forward. Apparently, that's maybe the key.
No, that is apparently now only going to be the thing that's needed. Because, to be fair, it's got to have been distracting
Yeah.
from a player perspective. Like when you've got a part owner of your club doing like NFL style walk-ins with his own boombox, that's going to take away from the fact that and yeah, it's going to be great commercially and financially, and that's probably the main reason it took place. Let's face
It
it.
looked like it created a hell of an atmosphere.
Yeah, it looked great, but then
Start
they go away and they're like, oh god, no, we forgot. Like partying with Snoop Dogg last week's probably thrown us off a little bit, but also fair play to Ipswich.
I mean, the quote that sticks out in my memory that I saw floating around was, "What was the difference of having Snoop Dogg here?" He's like, "Well, I could smell weed in the tunnel." Like, all right, yeah, no, that checks out.
That's fair. But, I think
Snoop
Ipswich
yeah.
are an example, mate, of what happens if you keep stability and that stability is successful, right? They've kind of, I think there were a lot of criticisms early season, and I think there was even talk about McKenna going, but clearly it's not the case now. They're doing all right. They're still pushing on. I feel like they are a force to be reckoned with, but they are a very, very stable championship side who will probably be in and amongst, I think, playoffs for quite a while, unless they start to get picked apart.
I think that of all of the teams in the playoff positions, they are the team with their eyes on automatics the most. That's what they'll be aiming for. So it's definitely not off the cards, not on the table. Obviously, we don't know what the Middlesbrough result's going to be.
We do not
tonight, but it could start to get really interesting. Let's say, but yeah, solid performance from Ipswich. Yeah, another one of the teams with the momentum on their side for sure. Right, next up, Oxford 2, West Brom 1. The continued capitulation of the Baggies is a sore topic in my family at the moment, I think it's safe to say. I don't think that my brother-in-law will mind me quoting him as saying earlier in this week, watching this team is making me hate football. So
it's like us last year. Oh no, that's devastating.
West Brom found themselves 2-0 down in the opening 26 minutes and did at least manage to go on and get a goal back, but not enough to get anything out of looking at their run of games that's left at Oxford that they would have been expecting to beat to distance themselves from them in the bottom of the table. And in fact, that's basically a 6-pointer that they've given to Oxford, because that brings Oxford to within 3 points of them. Obviously, Watford's first win in the last 6, having a season to forget, but
it's
kind of crazy. Of course, West Brom firing their manager in the week.
Well, what I think we've realised is that maybe the MLS is just like a different breed, and we should stop hiring managers from the MLS, because between him and Nancy when he went to Celtic, like it just seems to be really, really good success in the MLS means absolutely nothing elsewhere.
That's not to say that you're not going to find a quality manager in the MLS, but you're right. It just means that
No, what I mean is
success over there
cur-
doesn't equate, right?
currently, it doesn't look to be the case, right? Until we have
Yeah.
someone that upsets or starts moving that needle towards a percentage that is better than not. It seems to be the other way around right now.
But yeah, leaves West Brom in a really difficult position heading into, like I say, the last 11 games of the league. And I don't know. It might just be the optimist in me with the ties that I've got that thinks they've probably got enough to stay up. But also, the numbers don't lie, mate. And
They do
at
not.
the moment, they're spelling disaster for West Brom. It's really not good. Like I say, it's like a proper race to the bottom between them and Leicester, and Blackburn and Oxford doing enough at the moment to benefit from that. When earlier on in the season, it looked like Oxford were a sure thing to be one of those names going down. Now they've given themselves a chance. So what more can you say for them?
As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they manage to stay up and West Brom go down. Is where I'm at based off of what's going on currently.
Crazy.
I know that
Right,
you hate
moving
that,
on.
but
Preston North End 0, Millwall 2. Millwall get pushing up now into that. Talking about
you say
Ipswich pushing on for the automatics,
yeah,
mate.
come on, man. This is the team that you called like a dark horse, and I laughed at you, and now I'm the one that's completely in the wrong.
Yeah, look, they're finding their feet. They're putting in the performances. They're getting the wins. Just a solid game. 16 shots compared to Preston 6. Just a good result away from home for them. And like I say, they're also going to be having their eyes up towards those automatic spots rather than looking down to the other playoffs chasing them down. And that's a potentially dangerous thing, right? Like they're not out of it at all. Well within reach of Middlesbrough at the moment, and yeah, Millwall in the Premier League would be pretty nuts, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anything I say, I'll get myself in trouble, probably.
Millwall looking for promotion. If that gets solidified, the Met will be praying with everything they've got that West Ham get relegated, so that they don't have to deal with that particular derby. Right? Let's put that out there. You talk about interest in potential derbies next season, and
yeah. So somehow, like one way or another, if Millwall go up, I feel somehow West Ham will go down.
Yeah.
It just kind of feels like the vibe.
Right.
But yeah,
Elijah Wood looking to spin up a sequel, right? That's where we're what we might be looking at.
Yeah, poor Preston, I guess.
Next on the list, QPR 0, Sheffield United 2. QPR just struggling, man. Like we put them down, and now the Blades, have done that too. It's Sheffield United, to be fair, on a slightly upward turn of form, did lose in the week, but 4 wins from their last 6. It's again putting themselves in almost enough of a position to be thinking about pushing on for that final playoff spot, but just a lot of work to do to pull themselves up from the position they created from their poor start to the year, right? So
yeah, well, as I said, there's just a lot of former Saints all over it, mate. Like Danny Ings not even in the squad. Don't know if he's out injured. Joe Rothwell's there now. It's another bizarre situation. And they brought in a bunch of extra firepower. Calvin Phillips, who, if I remember rightly, is currently suspended. Did he put in some horror tackle last week that?
Yeah, he got himself sent off in the Sheffield derby.
Yeah, and then you've got like free agent, as in they brought Patrick Bamford in, who's done a little bit for them. But yeah, they are chucking the kitchen sink at trying to be a little bit better than they have been. But I don't know whether or not that's going to succeed for them in the end. But as you said, it's a real tight table at the top. So
Yeah, look, that's why we love the league. Like we say, the fact that anyone can beat anyone and push it is what makes it so entertaining, and leads to so much of our frustration on a weekly basis. But that's it. And of course, last game on the list we covered extensively yesterday, as we beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-1 at Hillsborough. So if you want to hear our thoughts and analysis of that, go back and give that a listen. And then, yeah, like you say, one more game to play tonight at the time of recording. So we'll be tuning into that and seeing how that goes. But, mate, all things considered, just another classic championship week, right? All of the results pushing everyone closer. I don't think that, no confirmed anything in the league, and nor will there be until like the last possible minute, right? Like as far down as like 17th can potentially get up to 6th, but also like as far up as 16th, potentially looking over their shoulders. What could be coming up from behind them. It's
kind of crazy, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. The state of it is nuts. But we just have to hope that it continues to be this exciting, except when we don't want it to be exciting. I'd like some just I just want to make sure that we go on, continue winning ways, and give ourselves the best opportunity to hopefully get promoted. And then if we don't, it's not the end of the world. But I think either way, come the end of the championship season, it's going to be a lot to think about as a Saints fan.
Well, look, we find ourselves in the best possible position currently. Right, we are top of the form table, 5 wins out of the last 6, with Millwall right in there behind us with 4 wins and a draw. Coventry the same, 4 wins and a draw, and Wrexham the same, 4 wins and a draw. That's the reason it's tight, right? All of these teams building their upward momentum. Coventry doing their best to pull away, but everyone else keeping tabs with them. Just getting there. Long may our form continue. Let's stay at the top of that for the longest time, because it's great. It's what we enjoy and what we love to see. But look, that's it, mate. That's all we have got time for today. So thank you for joining me and going through that. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Let us know your thoughts on the week. Any particular highlights? I suspect a few of you will be that Hull goal for sure. But let us know on the socials, in the comments. We are Daily Saints Pod, absolutely everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, X, everywhere. Hit us up. Let us know. We love hearing from you and all that good stuff. And while you're there, why not give us a like and a subscribe? It goes a long way to helping us out, and we really appreciate it. And we see all of you helping boost those numbers lately, and we are so grateful. So thank you very much. We will be back tomorrow with more Championship Saints goodness. But until then, everyone, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you then.
This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.